then there's also a QR code there that will take you to the same site. All right, so welcome everybody. This session is called Keeping Up with AI, a Practical and Proactive Approach. My name is Ronald Levko. I am a curriculum and instructional design specialist and contingent faculty at Clover Park Technical College. I'm currently teaching 2 classes. One is an ESL class that I do over at the Tuolumne Library with refugees from Ukraine and Afghanistan. And then one is an adult basic education tech lit class, which I'm supposed to be teaching right now, but I'm going to do it all. So, that's okay. Thank you. All right. What we're going to be talking about today, I've broken it down into 2 simple objectives. First part, set clear AI expectations, and then the second part is adapt assignments for AI. So hopefully these are interesting topics for you, what you want to hear about. And I'll also give you a lot of experience, stories about my experience and a lot of resources to AI materials that I found through working with it at Clover Park. Objective 1 here, just so that it's very clear with you all, faculty, you all will leave with a clear process for setting expectations around AI, fostering an environment of academic integrity, and knowing how to respond if they suspect misuse. So basically, trying to proactively prepare your classes for students that might use AI, and then focusing on that academic integrity part of it. And then what do you do if you suspect that students have used it? Has anybody had that yet, where you suspected that your students have used it? Yeah, I think it's a pretty common occurrence at this stage in the game. Before we get into it though, I have a Mentimeter here. So if you're on your computer, menti.com, and then all of those letters and numbers, or on your phone, just a quick, I want to read the room. The question here, one question, what is your level of familiarity with generative AI technologies, such as ChatGPT or any of the others that you might have used? And I will show those results once I see no phones scanning QR codes. And if you still weren't able to get to the website where the presentation is, if you just go into Google and type in CPTC TLC, the Teaching and Learning Center LibGuide will come up. And then it's under Presentations 2024 AFT Conference. So there's the slides there, and then these are your results coming in live. So if I were to read them, one person in here has never used generative AI. Okay, cool. Hopefully you'll learn a lot today. 4 people have experimented with it, but haven't used it in teaching. Let's say a majority of you are right in the middle there, that you've used it occasionally in your classroom or research. Regularly use AI is 2, and deeply involved with AI projects and research is 1. Who is that? Can you give us some example of stuff you've been working on?
Okay, so I'm a temporary reassignment helping with curriculum compliance from Wright Technical College, and I can write you a 12-week course on pretty much any topic in under 5 minutes. Including videos, quizzes, assessments. Wow. So we're in deep. I'm in deep.
That's awesome.
And
yeah, I'm also, I feel like you and I are.
Yeah, and soon you should be receiving something. I don't know how it's going to come out yet, but there is a new Canvas wizard, which is free to students, which they can add on that you cannot see. It will automatically ace any Canvas quiz, including open response through an AI hack. And we just found it a couple days ago. Your only way to know is if you check how long it took the student to complete the question, not the exam. because they'll just leave it open, so it looks like it took them an hour.
Mm.
But when you go question by question, you're like, that took 2 seconds, that took 5 seconds. And there's a free version, and I tested it with my son, who's a Running Start student at Green River, and he aced, with the teacher's permission, and he aced an aviation pilot exam. So stay tuned for more updates, but when I say I'm deep, I'm deep.
Okay, well, that's good to know. I haven't heard about
Yeah,
that.
we just found it like 2 days ago.
What kind of pilot exam? You said
Aviation.
Aviation, so
Aviation.
Green River offers the professional pilot program,
Oh my god. Pilot, not pilot. That's scary.
like airplanes, yeah,
That is scary. So we'll talk about, that,
that's separate, yeah.
we'll talk about hopefully some methods that you can have in your class to try to mitigate that or like preemptively prevent that. But I've heard this many times. If a student wants to cheat, they're going to find a way to make it work. But hopefully, as instructors, we can try to make it so that they don't want to cheat. Does anybody else want to share some of their experiences with generative AI?
No, but I want to be her when I grow up.
Okay. Yeah.
Hundreds of hours of training, yeah, it's been a big lift for me, cause I teach in a prison where we have no technology.
Oh, gosh.
So to go from not even be able to use Canvas with students to this has been a big lift.
I bet.
All right, moving on. So we gave this survey. It was much more comprehensive. We were trying to get Clover Park's experience and also their thoughts on AI. So we sent out a survey. This was the same question that y'all just answered, and this was at the beginning of this year. And so at that time, it was more skewed towards the left. You can see out of 22 responses, 7 of them were saying just no, they haven't really gotten there, experimented with it. And then pretty similar though on the other side there of people who have used it and then people who have used it a lot. So very few people who haven't heard of it and haven't used it. I'm not going to go over what generative AI is. That you can watch videos or go to a different website to learn about that. I like to think about generative AI as a autocomplete on steroids. Like if you remember, or if you go into Google right now and you just type in AFT, it will give you these responses, right? AFT meaning, fasteners, ship, union, and so the same process where it's trying to find the next word, the next most common word is what it does. And the reason that you get different responses every time is because they switch it up. So like depends on the context, depends on what you're asking. It'll look at that text and then it will try to pick whatever it thinks that you want it to give it, whatever response you want it to give you. So generative AI has been around for a while. So like example, the search engines, the autocomplete applications, where you maybe typed it in before and then it comes back and populates it again. Data processing and modeling, that's kind of the back end, if you've heard of like machine learning or big data, that is all related to generative AI. I have a link here to an AI tools directory. So if you click here or scan there, it will give you a link to all the AI tools that are coming out now. I have a quick little graphic of what it looked like. This was January 26th of 2023, so almost a year ago, or yeah, no, this is more than a year ago, almost 2 years ago, and it was already this full. This is like when AI was like first coming out. If we were to try to take all the AI tools from that website and put it on here now, it would just be covered, like you wouldn't be able to read anything.
Oh.
So lots of tools related to AI. We're just going to be focusing on ChatGPT today because that's kind of the one that everybody knows about. And the reason that I bring up tools is because in the recently released competency framework from UNESCO, they talk about a lot about learning the tools and getting in there and trying them and seeing what they can do, maybe taking it from the perspective of a student in your class and seeing how they would use it. So the example of the Canvas, what did you call it? The Canvas?
It's called Canvas Wizard.
Canvas Wizard. Such a cool name.
Right.
But very dangerous for the students to. I understand test anxiety, and they want to do a good job and they want to succeed in the class, but the tests are there for a reason. And if they're having an AI wizard come in and do all the questions, then it kind of defeats the purpose of having it. So, okay, and then the last one related to statistics and kind of the current state of AI right now. If you weren't hip to it, AI skills are becoming more and more of a priority for employers. This is a 2024 Work Index annual report. It was from Microsoft and LinkedIn, and they surveyed 31,000 people, workers, business leaders, decision makers in 31 countries, and this was this year in February and March. And so you can see the percentages here. 66% of leaders would not hire someone without AI skills. 76% of people say they need AI skills to remain competitive in the job market. 71% of leaders are more likely to hire a less experienced candidate with AI skills than a more experienced one without them.
Just to clarify, Ronald, so is the ability to Google, is that qualifying as an AI skill for the discussion that we're having here? Because if you can't Google in the modern era, you're kind of useless.
So Google, if you think about Google when you're Googling things, you have to be very specific. Well, Google is nice because you don't really have to be that specific. You can just like put the general thing you're looking for and it'll come in. But we'll get into prompt engineering later, which is kind of where you have to think very carefully about what you're giving the large language model or the chatbot that you're interacting with. The more specific you are, the better results you're going to get.
So this survey wasn't based on Google?
This was through Microsoft and LinkedIn. So this is just asking. I didn't take this survey, so I don't know what the questions are. These are just the results. I thought were pretty eye-opening, especially this one where it's saying that if they were experienced, they will take the less experienced one with AI skills. And we hear stories all the time where students are going into interviews and they're asking about what's your experience with AI? Have you used it? How do you use it? And so if as instructors we're not including any considerations about it in our curriculum, then we're kind of doing a disservice to the students because it's a skill that I think is, as you can see, in high demand. Yes?
I have at one point shared like a TikTok with my daughter, my youngest daughter, who's just turned 21, and she's like, "Oh, Mama, that's not real. That's AI generated."
Oh.
And I'm like, "How do you know?" And she's like, "Oh, you just know, Mama." And I'm like, "Well, I don't just know, you know." And so, you know, they know, like,
Yeah.
you know, young people know things we don't necessarily clue
And
into.
I think they're getting better, and in the future it might be almost impossible to tell what is created by AI and what's not.
And
So that's the
what's
tricky part.
interesting is, you know, I teach math, so there have been websites out there for years where you could go and you could enter in a math problem and you could get the answer. Like Wolfram Alpha has been out there for years, but it's not been well known, right? It's been well known in the math community, but not to students. Now with this, I sat the other night and watched a student. They didn't know I could see their screen, but we have software that can see their screen. Half of the test, they copied every problem, went to Google, copied it down, and they got the full solution and the response, and they just typed it into their test. So halfway through the test, I went to them and I said, "We're done, because this test, you failed the test. And I'm gonna do you a solid. I'm gonna zero it out, I'm gonna let you retake it, when you come in here, I wanna know what you know, not what AI knows.
Right.
But,
Yeah,
yeah,
I
I mean,
think
they
that's
know
the-
how to do it now.
Important thing, yeah. Go ahead.
Can you speak to which fields these representation comes from? What job?
I gave you the link here, so if you wanna go into this one a little bit more detail, you can go and look at that. Due to the time and the scope of this one, this is just something that I was just
So
giving
this
you.
is not just education, that's not what you're representing? Okay.
I don't think so, cause it does say that business leaders were, asked as well.
Yeah, and it follows every trend. There's been a lot of different studies showing us now that this is a skill that employers absolutely want. And you'll see different kinds of results in different ways they go at it in different industries, but boy, it's become universal pretty much, I think.
The purpose of me showing you this is just to let you know that it's, if you haven't like looked into it at all, you're just kind of head in the sand, like, oh, maybe this will go away, it's probably not gonna go away.
I looked up the survey questions from
Yes.
that, and it does say the specific question included AI. Not, have you done Google? Have you
Oh,
done
not,
stuff?
okay.
Yeah.
As mentioned earlier. Okay. One last thing I wanna talk about, because I think it's important, and once again, we don't have a lot of time to go into the details of each of these things, but if you write it down or follow this, and Google it later, you can find some more information. There are a lot of problems with generative AI right now. I'll just run through this list very quickly, but yeah, like I said, if you want to find more information, it's on you to find it. Bias, the way that the large language models are trained is off of information from the internet. And it's all information that is easily accessible. So if you have a website that is behind a paywall, it's probably not gonna pull from that. So all the nice scholarly research and journals and articles that are really well written, it's probably not gonna pick from theirs, it's probably gonna pick from Reddit or 4chan, whatever is openly available on the internet. We don't know how exactly it was trained, and there's a lot of issues with that, and that relates to the lack of transparency over there at the end. But the point of the bias part is that it's trained on the internet of what we have put onto the internet. We, as in all of humankind and the people, the good and the bad, and so sometimes it'll get a result that seems like, why would it give me this result? So an example that I heard about was make a math problem about a kid who is African American and is make a multiplication problem, and then it's something like Jamal goes to the store and buys 20 basketballs, and each of them cost $5. And so you can see kind of that it takes that and feeds into that bias that it's trained off of the internet. Accuracy, if you've ever used it before and you try to do anything math related, so for example, I was trying to find a diet plan for myself. I put in my information, like my age and my weight and my height and some of the food that I like, and I said, make me a 20,000 calorie plan of what I can eat in a day. And so it gave me a bunch of good stuff. It was like, this chicken recipe and eat yogurt and make sure you have blueberries and all this stuff, and it was really great. And I said, can you break it down like calorically? Like, I want to see that it's 2,000 calories. And they say, oh sure, here it is. And then it's adding up all the numbers, and then I added them up, and it was something like 1,400 calories. So it's like way less than what I asked for. But it thought that that's what I wanted. It didn't know how to do the math because it's trained off of language. It's not trained off of math. Now, that was a long time ago. I'm not sure what would happen if I tried to do that now. A big problem with research, right? If you're saying, I need, write me this essay on this topic and make sure you include research, verified articles. journalistic articles, and it'll say, yeah, sure, and then it writes the whole thing, and then it'll give you a nice little citation, and then you start clicking on the links, and it just goes to nothing. Or it puts books that don't exist. And so it's not accurate, it's what it gives the result what it thinks you want to hear, okay? Ethical concerns, obviously, that's probably why most of you are here, is people using it to do their tests or to do their writing for them. Lack of transparency. The company that created ChatGPT is called OpenAI. Ironically, they're not very open with what they've used to train it. So I was talking about earlier, it's from the internet, but there's no specifics. Nobody knows what's really going on behind the scenes. Security vulnerabilities, we don't know, what kind of information people can get from it. If you're putting in, let's say you want to save a little time and you're gonna give all your assignments for ChatGPT to grade for you. Say, make sure that this is the rubric for this assignment. Give me all, give me some, I can't think of the word right now, but give me the comments? Yeah, I'm thinking of a word that starts with R, but I can't think of it right now. Give me the feedback for the students. And then you put in all the information from your students. We don't know where that information goes. That's back to the lack of transparency. That information could be fed into the model. There's some labor issues, like the people who are going through and trying to find, what sentences are correct, which ones are really, really scary to think about. Like if people are saying, how do you make a bomb, or how do I do something that is illegal, people have to go in and they have to check that. And they're going through, and there's people that they're paying in different countries that are having trauma, mental issues, reading through all of these things that people are putting into the chat bot. Access and digital divide, so it's great if students can use it to help to study, but if they don't have access to a computer or a way to access ChatGPT, then there's already a digital divide for people who can't use electronics, and so this adds more to that. And then the last one is the environmental concerns. That's for the models. They're computing so much information, and so they need to have so many computers running at one time to compute all of this. And so similar to Bitcoin mining or something like that, there are some concerns on the toll that takes to the environment. So once again, search more if you want some more information on that. That unfortunately we don't have a lot of time to talk about that.
I have got a question.
Yes.
I have experienced that sometimes when I'm talking about some specific topics, even though I don't have my phone or I don't search it on internet, but when I open my Instagram account or Facebook account, I say the same thing on my Facebook page or on Facebook account.
Mm-hmm.
Is it AI or something else? For example, a few days ago, I was talking with some education programs with my friend Sultani.
Mm-hmm.
So, like 10 minutes later, when I opened my Facebook, since then I have seen a lot of ads from different universities.
Oh, yeah.
So my question is that, is there anything, or I don't know, is it a thing or something like that? Are they hating us? Or is it
Yes.
or
I'm not the
AI or
guy
something like
that
that?
would know. I've had that happen before where I've been talking about something, or if I'm searching and then suddenly I'm getting ads about that thing. I think that relates to the site that you're using to search, but I don't know. It is also, I have been talking and I haven't typed anything into my phone or the computer, and it does seem like I start to get information about that.
Yes, your phone is listening.
Yeah.
don't know.
I can't answer that, like, I don't know for sure, but, I do know that I have had a similar situation with that. Okay, I wanna talk about the policies and procedures because now, this is where we're really getting into the proactive approach here. This is something that we created at Clover Park Technical College. You can read that, but basically it's just saying that, however the instructor wants to use it, whether they fully ban it, whether they fully allow it, or it's somewhere in between, it's up to the instructor. So it's kind of an academic freedom type of thing. We equate it with getting assistance from another individual. And so if you are using it to fully write your paper, then it wouldn't be you who did it. It would be you with the assistance from another person, another individual. And if you're not sure, we try to encourage our faculty to put it in their syllabus at the beginning, how they want to use it. But if they're not sure, err on the side of transparency and talk to the instructor about it. So if you want to look at that in full, it's on that same page that if you're on the presentation page, there's a tab at the top that's called syllabus that you can go and you can see that one.
It, just a question or just maybe like a reflection of that, of like faculty banning AI. It feels like, especially like looking at how many people need to use it and for future workforce, it feels like that's a, like, number one, futile, like you probably can't ban AI from your students using AI. And if it's like a skill that they need in the workforce, it'd be like, don't use the computer for this.
Right.
So I just wonder, like, kind of that, decision around, like, this is something we have. I mean, I know we're evolving and learning about it, but to ban it feels like counterproductive to like the students' growth, you know?
That's the approach that I'm taking,
Yeah.
and hopefully at the end of this presentation you also feel the
Yeah.
same way. It's a tool. It's like a lot of people compare it to the calculator. When that first came out,
Yeah.
everybody was losing their stuff. What are we gonna do? We have to ban the calculator. It's not, it shouldn't be allowed, but then we became more productive now that we don't have to focus on the calculations. We have something that does the calculations, and then now what's important is what do you do with that information that you can get from it. So whether to ban it or not, we've created this this graphic and this kind of framework idea for our faculty to add to their syllabus at the beginning. That basically says there's 3 ways that you can use this. Some of you, if you've been following AI, and especially AI in education, you might see there was like a table with 5 different options. I put it down to 3, and I tried to make it really like, I got the colors here and the shapes. If it's green, that means good to go. You can use it in any way you want. I added this caveat here, any ethical way for an assignment. Yellow is caution, it's going to be permitted, but you have to look at the specific instructions in the assignment. And then red is stop, using AI will interfere with your learning. In this assignment, AI is not allowed. And that part right there, it will interfere with your learning. If you use it, that will not help you. If you're using it to take the test, that's not going to help you, because the purpose of the test is for you to know how to do this stuff without relying on anything else. When you're out in the field and you have a problem with your airplane, you can't just bring up ChatGPT. What do I do in this situation? You need to be able to know how to do what you're set out to learn how to do. And so we encourage faculty to put this in their syllabus, and then what they can do is they can take each of these and then add them to their individual assignments. Because if you're saying at the beginning, we can't use it throughout the whole course, maybe there are some places where it would be beneficial. If you're in a writing class and you say you can use it for brainstorming, that might be beneficial because a lot of people, a lot of students have a hard time thinking of ideas. And so if you have an AI that can think of 20 ideas and then they can look through those ideas, I like this one, I want to expand upon that, then it breaks that wall down for them. So I have some examples of how it would look. Yes, go ahead.
And again, it's just that same clarity question. When you use the word AI, is that inclusive of Google or exclusive of Google when you say AI?
I don't think Google is AI. It's not generative.
Google has an AI, but yeah, that's right. It's not generative. It's searching for websites.
Yeah, it's a search engine.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is more like generative AI. So this is where you type in something into ChatGPT and it gives you like a whole. If you're asking for an explanation of something, it gives you the whole explanation, and then you can also continue the conversation with it. So you can say, "Oh, that doesn't seem right." So we'll have a chance to practice working with ChatGPT a little bit later. But for now, I want to go over these different tags that you can add to your assignments. So here's an example from a data analysis project in a statistics class. So this would be a green light. This one, actually the instructions have them using AI. So obviously it would be a green light for that one. The assignment here, conduct a comprehensive data analysis on a given data set. So to use, if the students are going to use AI, students will use AI to clean up the data, perform statistical analysis, and generate visualizations, and then a write-up on the findings. So AI can do all of these things. If you prompt it right, you can get it to, you can give it a data set, and then it can find all of this information. AI helps identify patterns and anomalies, offering suggestions for further analysis. The constructive use for this, it's assisting in the technical parts of it, but then it allows the students time to focus on interpreting the results, okay? This is the same thing with the calculator, right? You, instead of going through and doing all the calculations by hand, you have the calculator do that, and then now you have the results from the calculations. Now what do you do with that information? That's kind of that higher level thinking that this, using tools like this allows. And so drawing meaningful conclusions as well.
What do you mean by clean data?
Which part?
Use it to clean data.
I don't know this specific example, but I'm thinking like if you got an Excel file and it just had a bunch of just random data, AI is really good at taking that random data and then finding the patterns. So maybe you would have a messy Excel file, it would be able to clean that data up. All right, so here's an example of an assignment that you might have caution. I like to think of this as there's going to be some specific instructions on how you can use it and then how you shouldn't use it. Why you should use it and why you shouldn't use it. So this is for a poli-science class on a policy brief. Write a policy brief on a current international issue using AI to assist with drafting and refining of the content. So once again, kind of in this drafting phase, brainstorming, taking your ideas, looking at your ideas. It would be the same as if you had a tutor and you took the work that you were working on to the tutor and they said, hey, can you look at this and maybe tell me what I need to improve on, what's working, what's not working. It's that same idea. AI assists in drafting and the brief and refining arguments, but students must critically evaluate and adjust the content for coherence and accuracy. I was at an AI conference and the keynote was saying that AI, the results that you get from AI are equivalent to a C student. And so if you have them write a brief on a current international issue and you get that result, that's probably going to be a C student response. It's probably not going to be very deep. It's not going to be very specific. Most responses that I get from ChatGPT very general. and repeating a lot of things. And so if you have a class where you originally had the students drafting it by hand and thinking of the ideas, very difficult process, but is that really the purpose of it, is for them to do that? The purpose for me in an assignment like that is for them to evaluate it, is to, if you have something like that, say, this looks right, this part, not so much. I'm not interested in this part. So the constructive use here, AI helps to streamline the drafting process, allowing students to focus on refinement. They refine their arguments and ensure that it aligns with the policy objectives or whatever the objectives are from the assignment. So it's shifting the work here. That's one of the benefits of using this tool, is it's shifting the work. It would be the same as using computer generated, or not computer generated, something like Photoshop, a graphics program, as opposed to drawing everything by hand. You can use a program like Photoshop and it can help you with that part. You're still providing your input. Students are still focusing on putting something together, but it takes away a lot of the hard work. And then so the last one here, stop using AI will interfere with your learning. This is a reflective essay on ethics. Write a reflective essay on how ethical theories apply to real life situations that you've encountered. Obviously, AI would not help in this, right? AI doesn't have real life situations that it's encountered. It's just a machine learning here. And so, I mean, maybe students will still do it. They'll see this red thing and they'll still do it, but at least you have put it in there and said that, like, you got your bases covered. You said, don't use AI for this one. And so if you do suspect that AI was being used, someone's saying, they just know. Maybe when I asked earlier, I said, how many of you have had students where you think they've used it? You just know, right? And so adding something like this is going to be helpful for you, because then you can refer back to this and refer back to where you put it in your syllabus. So constructive uses here, the assignments encourage students to connect theoretical concepts with their personal experiences. And so that's something, once again, that generative AI can't do. Here's an example of what it would look like in Canvas. Our campus uses Canvas, and this is one of our English faculty. If anybody's ever heard the name Deanna Faraday, she is one of our English faculty that has fully embraced AI and talks about it in almost all of her classes and encourages her students to use it, which you would think English faculty, maybe they don't want their students using AI, but it's something that she's embraced. And so this one here, please read the one-page story. I'll go over the elements of writing. Let's see, police your own grammar. What are some specific moments from the story that are examples of description? So this is skills that they need to know how to do, right? They need to be able to look at what's a description, what are the different elements of writing that are found in this, I think it's a short story called Fish Cheeks. And then how universal do you think this story is? So this is where the reflection is important. And she's saying, as somebody who is encouraging AI use, in this assignment, it's not going to be helpful for your learning. And so she put that one at the top. Now, I know y'all are trying to figure out what to do when your students are using it and you want to give them a 0 for using it. Have you talked about it? Has anybody ever talked about AI with their students? What did you say to them?
I have the higher level ESL class, and what we do is we make the policy in the class and at the beginning of the class, and we talk about, then in each assignment we talk about what we think is the ethical and effective use. And we focus on Bloom's taxonomy.
Yep.
Like all the stuff on the bottom is like not where I want them putting their efforts. I want them to put their efforts in evaluating and creating. And then that just sets the stage for when they do use the AI, then they get the 0, and I pretty much, it's non-negotiable.
Yeah,
We've already
agreed
gone through
with
it,
with
we've
them.
agreed, we have a contract, you violated the contract, it's a 0, I don't wanna waste my time, you know, I don't wanna be a detective, I don't wanna, you know, it's just, that's it. And sometimes it's really bad, like one student had quarter before last, was putting like an emotional evaluation thing in there, and it actually said in her essay, well, as a non-human entity, I don't have emotions, so I can't blah blah, and I'm like, are you kidding?
Yeah.
In the
In the
response,
submission,
you know,
wow.
basically the response said, I'm AI, I can't answer this.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
it's like, no.
So that's a really good thing that you did there at the beginning, and that's something that in this document, this was created. I think it was I was in an AI task force for community and technical colleges where they're talking about this kind of stuff. Are you in that? So I can't remember the guy's name, but he put this up there, and I think he's from Seattle College. But this is the compliance and conduct protocol that they use that I really like. First thing here, establish and communicate your AI use policy. So talk about it on the first day. Establish the rules on when to use it, when not to use it. So here, including something in your syllabus. Even just, if y'all take that image, right, I have it here in the syllabus section of our LibGuide. You take this image, right click, save. I even added the alt text because this is an image, so if you want to add the alt
Thank
text
you.
in there, put that in your syllabus and then use those tags on your assignments. Have a classroom discussion, as you said, hold a discussion and talk about the role of AI in education, and then ongoing reminders. Have every time you have an assignment, okay, what's the ethical use, what's the non-ethical use?
I teach ESL level 1, so even like they almost need to use AI to understand what I'm saying about using AI, which I don't know, I think is interesting.
Yeah, I mean, you can really use it for anything. If you're trying to think about some ideas, it's really helpful to give you feedback on what you're thinking, even if you're in that meta, like thinking about using AI. So here, this part I really like about the process for investigating suspected violations. So reviewing previous student work, if you can give them assignments at the beginning to get kind of that benchmark, where if they're in class with you and you say, okay, here, let's all write a paper on what's better, cats and dogs. Doesn't matter what the topic is. It can be related to whatever the course you're teaching, but just get that handwritten, I know it sounds so archaic, but the handwritten paper from them so that you can see later on when they're not around you and you're giving them assignments to complete at home, you can see this looks a lot different from this. Why is this, why is your voice here and then this voice sounds super generic, right? So that's the comparison of prior submissions. So analysis of growth, I mean, maybe they did really just shoot up their vocabulary. Maybe their voice is evolving, but that's something, a conversation that you can have with them. Align with assignment objectives, so that's what I was talking about before. What's the objective? Is the purpose of the statistics class for them to go in and like manually organize an Excel document, or is the purpose to take the data and make interpretations of what the data is giving? The objective is the focus. And then this one, for if you take anything away, engage the student, ask the student to explain their thought process. A lot of people think, oh, okay, I know this is AI, I'm gonna put it into an AI checker, and it's gonna go through and it's gonna say, without a doubt, this is AI. She's shaking her head. AI checkers do not work.
Nope.
They make promises, but there's been countless examples of people who have the proof of the process that they went through, and they have the notes where they've completed it without AI assistance at all, but the AI checker says that it was created with AI. And so, asking them to explain their thought process. I have an example of a faculty member that came to me and said, I know that this student is using AI. I don't know how to prove it, but I know that they're using it. I said, how do you know? And she says, because they're talking about, it was something about resources on campus. And in the response, it talks about this resource that is on campus, but it's not. That resource didn't exist. And so go to this building to talk to this person, but this person's not there. So she's like, what should I do? Like how do I talk to them? Do I say, did you use ChatGPT to do this?
J'accuse.
We're not police. We're not here. That should not be our role.
Yeah.
We're trying to help them to learn, right? Not to say you did this bad. So bring the student in, ask them where they got that information from. Where is this resource? Where did you find the information for this resource? I don't know. Say, okay, well, then why did you write about it? So that's it. Well, I put it into ChatGPT, and so then they'll most likely admit that they used it, unless they're trying to fight it. But anyways, if they say, no, I didn't use it, that's just something that I thought, then you say, well, the focus of the assignment is to give actual resources on campus. And so I can't give you credit for this because it's not following what is asked for in the assignment. And then, so y'all can continue reading through this. It talks about policy reinforcement, education and prevention, and then at some point you would need to report it to the student conduct officer if it's really like clear that happened, and like if you have proof that they're using the wizard to do all the tests for them. Okay, let's continue on. So that's that kind of wraps up the first part of this, where we're talking about policies and ways that we can kind of proactively prevent, and also gives us a chance to say, like, this is what I did, this is what we talked about, this is what's in the syllabus, and then if there are any problems, you have to escalate it to student conduct, and you have your bases covered. All right, we're going to move on to the second part of this, where we're going to be using ChatGPT. So if you have a computer, it's probably easier to use. If you have your phone, you could just go and use it on your phone, like the small screen. Faculty will gain practical skills in modifying assignments to accommodate AI technologies, fostering ethical use of AI, and providing multiple pathways for students to demonstrate mastery, thereby reducing the incentive to cheat. So this is where our goal is here. We're going to use AI to help us so that the students don't use AI, which sounds opposite, sounds weird, but if we go back to, this is a tool, we're using it to help us. If we can have the students use AI, if it's okay, we put that green bar on the top and we say, it's okay for this assignment. But once again, as long as it doesn't interfere with the learning that's supposed to take place. So prompting, this is kind of what we were talking about earlier when you were talking about Google. Prompting is basically what you give to the AI. When you're in ChatGPT and you're starting your conversation with the chatbot, whatever you type in is your prompt. So I just want to make sure everyone knows that terminology. 5 guidelines for a good prompt. So this is from the Student Guide to AI from Elon University. The link is down here, or you can scan to get that one. It's a PDF that I would look at if I were you and see if there's anything that you can use with your students from that. But they have a page here where it talks about the prompt. So the guideline, use correct spelling and grammar, that doesn't matter, ignore that. I think that's enough for the students, just so the students should, use correct spelling and grammar, but it doesn't matter what the spelling is, or it doesn't matter the grammar. From my experience, it usually knows what you're trying to do. The second one though, be clear, specific, and detailed about your request. So different from Google, where you can just type in 1 or 2 words, a subject of what you're trying to look for. Here, you can get super, super specific. And the more specific that you get, the better response you're gonna get. A nice formula, this is a nice prompt formula that you can follow. And if you use something like this, from my experience, you get much better results than simply give me a lesson about this. Declare your role, okay? And so in this example, since it's for students, it says you are a college student. Give the context. You are taking a political science course and writing a 1,500 word essay on the topic of disinformation in modern societies. So this is what it's about, what you are working on, what you need from the AI. You're kind of painting the picture here. The task is actually the specific thing that you want. Please produce a potential outline for the essay, and then include the format. What do you want it in? Do you want it just in 3 paragraphs? Do you want it in the information in the table? Do you want it to create a picture of this for you? Which doesn't really work for this example, but format is important when you're putting it all together, because that's what the result, you wanted to get it in the result that you wanted.
Mm-hmm.
Which sounds like it doesn't make sense, but in my brain it makes sense. Okay, I have a quick video to show you here to talk about the importance of a good prompt. This is called Exact Instructions Challenge from this guy named Josh Darnett. Hopefully, I use this to illustrate the importance of the input that you give so that you can get a good output.
I thought it was you.
Sorry, ruined it on purpose. He knows how to make one.
Step 1, get 2 pieces of bread out. Get a butter knife and get some PB. Take 1 piece of bread, spread it around with the butter knife.
No, Dad, with the peanut butter.
I'm just doing what it says. It says take 1 piece of bread, spread it around with the butter knife.
Hold on.
Get some jelly, rub it on the other half of the bread.
No, Dad, open the jelly.
Well, it doesn't say to do that. Put the breads together on top of each other. Take a big bite. It just tastes like a peanut butter jelly sandwich. Fail.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Sorry, I had to make it extremely specific.
Oh, good. I'm starving. Take 2 pieces of white bread out of the bag. Take the lid off the jar of peanut butter. Get a butter knife and stick it inside of the peanut butter jar. With the knife, scoop a bit of peanut butter out of the...
That means like a lot.
A bit means a lot?
In my world.
Onto 1 of your pieces of bread with a knife. Alright? There we go.
Doing better than before, though.
Open the jelly jar. Squeeze it onto the other piece of bread.
No.
Done. Closer.
Alright, so
You're not
funny
even
video.
making any sense.
Let's see if I can get to the next part without it playing again. The importance of clear instructions. Here's a infographic from AI for Education.io. They have a lot of really nice resources there on the website. If you go to that website, create a lesson plan about multiplying fractions for 5th graders. This might be where you're at right now if you haven't really experimented a lot with ChatGPT. It's what you want. It's the Google. Give me this. I'm looking for this, and then it's going to give you a website, and you're going to go find it on that website, right? A better one, act as an expert mathematician and teacher skilled in designing engaging learning experiences. That's the role. For upper elementary students, this is the context. Design a lesson plan about multiplying fractions for 5th grade students. This is the actual task that you wanted to do. So, getting better. You're an expert mathematician, teacher, skilled in universal design for learning. Design an accessible lesson plan about multiplying fractions for 5th grade students interested in soccer. More context. You have a class of 5th graders that like soccer. I know this is college, but think about college students who are interested in soccer. The lesson should include a hands-on activity and frequent opportunities for collaboration. Okay, so adding the more specific your prompt, the more effective it's going to be. Y'all can just take that away from this graphic here. Okay. If you have your computer open and you're on this page of the presentation, if you click this level 20, developing AI generated assignments, it's going to take you to a Word document. If you're on your phone, you can scan that. It's going to open up the Word document. I'll give you all a second here to do that. This is the demonstration part. This is where we're going to get into ChatGPT and start playing around.
Where were you a year ago?
Have you found that when you're polite with your AI generator, the responses that come back are actually more detailed and more like how we speak? Like I thank my AI prompt and I'm like, this is what I'm looking for, can you turn this into a table? Or the table is great, now can you link it to videos? Can you create guided lecture notes to go with those videos? I can just keep doing the layers, but if I don't thank it, my answers aren't as nice. I don't know why. I haven't figured that part out, but if I'm super polite.
So I also, just as kind of a person in this world, I know I'm speaking to a computer program. But I also, can you do this? Please do this. Thank you. And if I don't do it, I also feel like I'm getting better results.
Yes, okay, it's not just me having a.
And I've seen on the internet that, I have also seen on the internet that if you say something like, do this, my life depends on it, adding that at the end, then it will give you better results as well. Because remember, it just wants to give you the results that it thinks that you want. So if you're kind, maybe it'll give you a kinder result.
It just sounds more like me, like when I review it.
Okay. It adds
the
more
language
voice to
sounds
you.
more like how we would talk.
Yeah, I have noticed that.
Okay.
I definitely noticed that. And so, okay, so hopefully y'all are in here. I'm gonna open up this one now. Oh, and I'm just covering my bases because when AI takes over the world and it decides like which humans are going to live and which ones are not, it's gonna know that I was always kind to it.
There's something subconscious about that.
Oh no.
All right, here we go. So this is, it says here level 20 because this is from AI course that I created, generative AI for higher education, which I'll talk about in a minute. But it says here to start a new chat. Actually, if you go and you just type in chat.com, last week ChatGPT bought this domain, and so if you go to chat.com, you will go into here. You used to have to log in to ChatGPT. Now, if you'll notice, it says to log in and sign up, but I can also access it here. So that takes that barrier down for students. And a lot of people were worried, if I use my email address, I think my school didn't let me use my school email address when I was signing up for ChatGPT. We're gonna do it anyways, but okay. So here's the prompt. This is, if you're in here, it's copy and pastable. That's why I have it here. So the following text prompt will modify and copy and paste into Cloud. This one was for Cloud, but actually we're going to be using ChatGPT. The purpose of this first prompt is to train the large language model, LLM, so it knows that we're trying to accomplish and explains its process. Copy and paste the following. So we have our role, we have our context, we have our task, and we have our format. So I'm just going to come down here, and hopefully this will work. I'm just going to copy and paste this one into here. Now there's some things that I need to change. So I start with the role we. I say we because I want the responses to be from my perspective. If I'm working on this and I say, I don't like that, then I is part of we. Our expert curriculum instructional designers and blank faculty members. So I think for my example, I was helping out a welding faculty member at college. So just setting up the role here, Clover Park Technical College. You need to create assignments for the course that this person was looking for was Weld 106. So you would just put in whatever course you're currently teaching where you want to do this. I will provide you with the syllabus for the course, a lesson plan, and any extra information that you might have. So once again, the more information, the better. The task here, your first job is to create 10 in-class activity examples that are inclusive and focused on collaboration, creativity, communication, and critical thinking, the 4 C's of 21st century skills that we want our students to focus on. Also, do whatever in your power to intrinsically motivate the students so they wouldn't even consider cheating.
Nice.
Right? And then make it so the assignment can be completed by simply posting the instructions into AI. So giving specific instructions to the chatbot, so hopefully it'll give me some responses that are useful. The format, I want this format. I want it to be assignment title. I want the objectives, and I want the objectives to be SMART goals, specific, measurable,
Attainable, relevant,
relevant, timely. Can't remember what A is, but accessible.
attainable.
How this incorporates UDL, so I want it to explain to me how, like the considerations for UDL, the considerations for inclusivity, and then all of the 4 C's that I taught. And then now this last part, I'm gonna check, this is really made up, but I want it to explain what it's gonna do when it does this. So I don't want it to do it yet. I don't want it to give me the 10 things yet. I want it to explain the process that it's going to use to give me those 10 things. So that doesn't make any sense. Let's just see what it does here. So if y'all are on your phone or on your computer, type that in and see what kind of responses you get. Obviously they're going to be different if you're teaching a different class, but AI always gives different results. It's almost impossible to get the same result twice when you use it. So, process, create 10 in-class activities. I'll design 10 activities, align with key principles, that motivational focus, okay, good. I'm glad that it paid attention to that part, and then it's gonna give them SMART. Now it's explaining what it needs from me. It needs a course syllabus, it needs a lesson plan, and it needs any additional resources. So, I don't know if y'all have that like easily accessible, but maybe you can try it later with your information if you're sitting in front of your computer and you have a class that you would like to create some new assignments for. Maybe you have an assignment where it seems like students are using AI a lot on that assignment. Maybe use that assignment as an example to try to adjust. And so it gives you the response. The second prompt, if you scroll down back in here, now you're going to give it that actual data, okay, into ChatGPT. So in this format, I would do 1 syllabus and then copy and paste. 2 lesson plan, copy and paste, and then any extra information. So here, this is from that weld class. This is the information from the syllabus. And then I go down here, I've got week 3 lesson plans. So this is what the lesson plan is currently for week 3. And then a list of the modules. So this was just copy and pasted from Canvas. So this was what is normally done in week 3. And it's also, there was a quiz that was given. So I'm copying and pasting the quiz in there as well, so that it knows what the outcome is of doing week 3. Okay, so we're just gonna copy and paste all that stuff in here. And let's see what it comes up with. lots of information. This is all information that is already created, right? This is already from the course. I just went and copy and pasted it from Canvas. All right, so here are the 10 different in-class activities based on the course outline, program outcomes, and the week 3 material. So activity 1, safety protocols relay. By the end of this activity, students will be able to demonstrate their knowledge of welding safety protocols and equipment by correctly identifying and explaining safety measures for various welding situations. Here are the things that I told it to think about, the UDL part, the collaboration part, but it doesn't really tell me what the activity is, like what to do during the activity. Blueprint interpretation challenge, safety equipment scavenger hunt. Oh, I like that. I love scavenger hunts. So I'm going to say, I like number 3. Can you create a 90-minute lesson plan for this, and also assignment description for the students?
Please.
Please.
My life depends on it, that's what I
All right.
need it tonight.
So, introduction, gaining the attention, start by posing some questions, so it gives me some questions to ask my students. Informing the learners of the objective, so you're following the standard flow of a lesson here. There's a pre-activity setup, so introduce the scavenger hunt. These are the items that you need to find. The scavenger hunt activity is 30 minutes. You're going to give them the instructions and then give them 25 minutes. These are the questions that they need to ask for the scavenger hunt. What's the name of the item? What material is it made of? How does the item protect you in the welding environment? Wow. And what safety risks does it prevent? Then there's a group sharing and reflection portion of this, where they group share and they reflect on it. And then there's an assessment, a quiz at the end. Gives me some sample questions. Say, please give me more questions for the quiz. I'm going to leave that misspelled, the quiz, just to show you that it doesn't matter. And so, for those that haven't used it, I know there's one person who hasn't used generative AI. It's not a one and done. Everything can be adjusted. You can say, I don't like this part, I like this part, so keep this, take this part away, and then you can have it fill in some more stuff. So, welding safety equipment quiz. Which of the following is not a common type of PPE used in welding? And it's got a list here. Say, I want to easily import this into Canvas. Can you make it in a table format? So I've got my questions here, but I don't want to copy and paste all of them over there. I know there's a way to do it if I can have it in a table. And so, let's see here. Now I've got it in a table. So question number 1, I've got my answer options, and then I've got my correct answer over here. Now, once again, check for accuracy. This might be completely wrong. I don't know about welding well enough to know whether this is correct or not, but I can sit down with my instructor and go over this with them and say, is this correct? Okay, now we have a full lesson plan with an assignment, with an activity, and then with a quiz at the end. So that's some of the capabilities that can be done with ChatGPT. Hopefully you got some similar results. If you have any questions, I'm going to end this up now because I know it's time for a break. You can reach out to me. Sorry we don't have time for questions, but we're kind of answering them, asking them and answering as they were going on. My name is Ronald Lethko. My email address, I don't know why I didn't put it on here, but it's ronald.lethko@cptc.edu. ronald.lethko@cptc.edu. Feel free to email me anytime if you want some more information. The last couple of slides on here give you some more resources about some courses that you can join. Yeah.
And where did you say the slides would be?
The slides, if you want to find them, are on our LibGuide.
Okay.
So if you type in
Yeah.
CPTC TLC and then go under presentations, it's down there.
Okay, cool.
I want to thank you all for coming. I hope you all got some good information about how to do AI. And